Hello there, it's good to be here, and I'm sure you also feel good that we are together again for another 90 minutes of news with the extra touch. Tonight, it's as usual, another night of interesting stories packaged with that extra detail that makes it news extra. From China, we shall give you details of the juicy deals members of the Nigerian contingent at the China-Africa Summit, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, are closing with the Chinese. Also tonight, we'll tell you about something big that is about to happen in the health sector, courtesy of the Federal Executive Council. Of course, you know the political train towards 2019 is gathering momentum. Stay with us to know who is doing what. We, as usual, have infrastructural development stories, agriculture, business, and much more. I guess you know we always keep you updated on news on the foreign scene, sports, and the weather prospects for Thursday. Well, today is no different, so let's get the ball rolling on News Extra. Of course, it is the usual me, Fatima Abbas Hassan. Now, water, that special liquid that my chemistry teacher told me is made up of 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen, to say the least, is a wonder substance. My geography teacher told me that 3/4 of the world is made up of water, while biology teaches us that 60% of our body mass is water. Now, do you get the drift? Water is practically live, as some would say. Water is also used for so many other things. In fact, without water, life will simply go extinct. Now, let's talk power generation. There, too, water comes in handy, and President Muhammadu Buhari knows this. That's why he is bent on completing the Mambilla hydro power project. He has therefore renewed his appeal to the Chinese to help with the project. He says is key priority to Nigeria. The president renewed the appeal at a bilateral meeting with President Xi Jinping. Adamu Sambo tells us more.
Since his last visit to Beijing in 2016, the Chinese government interventions in critical infrastructure projects and other key economic sectors, as President Buhari always insists, have positively impacted millions of Nigerians and will continue to do so in generations to come. The Nigerian leader is here to not only say thank you to President Xi Jinping, but like Oliver Twist, ask for more support, and this time for the Mambilla hydropower project.
Mambilla hydro project remains a key priority for Nigeria. Our wish is to fully fund the project with concessionary loans from China.
He told the Chinese leader that any alternative funding arrangement will adversely impact the project's viability. The president used the opportunity to formally appreciate the acceptance of the Chinese government to support international effort at recharging Lake Chad. The inclusion of the project in the FOCAC action plan, he said, will go a long way in supporting Nigeria's genuine commitment towards the rehabilitation and resettlement of the conflict-impacted Northeast region. During the meeting, which continued behind closed doors, President Buhari met other requests, as explained by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama.
Another point Mr. President also made was that we wanted to see duty waivers for our agricultural products coming into the Chinese market, like sesame and others. And this point was also well taken by the Chinese president, who did say that they were taking steps to facilitate greater market access for Nigerian agricultural products.
How did President Xi Jinping respond to President Buhari's submission at the high-level talks?
President Xi, of course, congratulated Mr. President on the developments that have taken place during his mandate as president and his fight against terrorism and the economic recovery and growth plan of the country. And he committed to supporting Nigeria in the development path. He believes in what he calls a win-win for the two countries. And regarding the Mambilla project, indicated that they would look into it to ensure that it's sustainable and beneficial results, and we'll get back to the Nigerian government and hopefully be able to very quickly start implementing that project.
President Muhammadu Buhari also visited the Chinese Premier Li Keqiang at the State Guest House Dayotai. He congratulated China for the successful hosting of FOCAC, which he said has provided a platform for a very prosperous future for the nearly 2.5 billion Chinese and African citizens. Premier Li Keqiang applauded President Muhammadu Buhari's commitment to the sustainable future of Nigeria, a country he described as China's dependable ally.
Premier made also the point that the Chinese companies that invest in Nigeria, they require of them, the highest ethical standards and to also maintain the highest level of social responsibility. And Mr. President said that, up to this point, that we have been very, satisfied with the contribution of the Chinese companies in Nigeria.
Mambilla hydropower project, which featured prominently at the high-level talks with the Chinese leaders, is Nigeria's equivalent of the Three Gorges Dam in China. And as President Buhari said, it is his wish that President Xi Jinping joins him for the groundbreaking ceremony anytime soon. From Beijing, China, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, like breaking a bad omen, the Mambilla hydroelectricity project, which seems to defy concrete arrangements for takeoff after many years of conception, has not only become a reality under the present government, but its development continues to take center stage, as has just happened in faraway China, where President Buhari and his Chinese counterpart held bilateral talks. Hamza Musa Makarfi goes into the archives to refresh our memory about the multi-billion naira project.
This is the major breakthrough in the execution of the Mambilla hydropower project, with the 2018 fiscal year appropriation of 9.8 billion naira, including 8.5 billion as counterpart funding. In the company of guides at the project site, not a single monument to justify the vision for the project has been implemented for decades, even though a lot of money was expended since 1972, according to findings. However, the promise of change has manifested on prosperous vision for Nigeria, with the project no longer a dream. In the process of negotiations with the Chinese, the government secured cost reduction from the projected $6.6 billion to the agreed sum of $5.7 billion. The amount is inclusive of taxes, environment utilization, works, as well as project land acquisition and compensation to about 100,000 people who will be resettled. The importance of the project, therefore, are also multifaceted beyond the capacity to transform the communities in Taraba State to the entire country.
3,050 megawatts, for those of us who know what a megawatt is, can do a lot in developing Nigeria. That is a very good project for the country as a whole.
With President Buhari at the helm of affairs and his team, this is going to be a history. We believe that what we need today is development.
With high expectations on the prospects of the project, experts advise on full implementation of integrated approach on the construction of power evacuation and dam infrastructure. Hamza Musa Makarfi, NTA News.
In the meantime, Nigeria and the People's Republic of China have signed 2 new agreements aimed at strengthening and expanding their mutually beneficial collaboration and cooperation in critical sectors for enhanced socio-economic development. This was the outcome of the high-level talks between President Muhammadu Buhari and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
The new agreement, signed under the watchful eyes of President Muhammadu Buhari and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, includes the Belt and Road Initiative, aimed at building greater collaboration in Nigeria's quest for economic and infrastructural development.
This is like an infrastructure highway along which trade will be developed that will really stimulate economic development and technological development.
Also signed between Nigeria and the People's Republic of China is a framework agreement on the provision of concessional loans from the Chinese government institutions to Nigeria.
We signed a cooperation agreement for concessional financing for the rollout of ICT infrastructure for $328 million. So basically what it means is that we're able to get a low-cost loan to roll out better IT infrastructure, which really basically means that more Nigerians can be connected to the internet and to the digital economy at a cheaper price. That's really the import. But we also had discussions on a number of projects that are being funded by China Exim in particular, the airports, Mambilla, rail. And the President made a very strong case for us to get as much concessional money as possible. Concessional funding is around 1.5, 1.9%. So the difference in interest rate, the money that we save by being able to get as much as possible concessional, is of course a saving to the Nigerian people.
Some members of the Nigerian delegation to the bilateral talks, as well as the summit spoken to, expressed the belief that the partnership entered into will set the foundation for many centuries of mutually beneficial relations between Nigeria and China.
My sense is that it's really one of consolidation. We were careful not to focus so much on new things as much as reaffirming and reinforcing, the various projects we're working with them already on, whether it's around the rail or around power or around roads, as well as some of the other things that relate to human capacity building. And I think there is increased consciousness, both on China's side and on Nigeria's side, that this partnership must be win-win. It's in everybody's interest.
There are issues that have to do with development, especially infrastructure development. So issues of railway, issues of aviation, issues of Mambilla and all that to enable the country sustain its developmental agenda. The President is focusing consistently on infrastructure development. So what this gives to us is that we're part of the $60 billion that the Chinese is ready to invest in the African community.
Yes, we have had relations with many foreign powers, but over time we have realized that conferences like these in other climes just end up with the tea drinking and the bag partying. There are really no concrete take-homes. But with the Chinese, at least they put their money where their mouth is. They will assist us in developing our infrastructure as they are doing now in Nigeria. I have the Yankari Power Project. We have put virtually everything in place on the part of Nigeria. It is now awaiting the decision of the Chinese authorities as to how much they are willing to give for that power project.
The respondents allayed the fears of some Nigerians regarding quality, saying the fault in getting substandard products and services in the past had always been that of Nigerians, but under the Buhari presidency, value for money is never compromised. From Beijing, China, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, by the year 2020, China is projected to emerge as the largest economy in the world. Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa, if you must know. Now, many African countries depend on China for technological and infrastructural development. But what are the internal dynamics that make China the center of world attraction now? These are many other questions where what guests on NTA's Tuesday Live sought to answer. Momso Damien Dati brings us the details.
Infrastructure, power, human capacity development, transportation and humanitarian support, resulting in technological advancement and growth are many of the benefits Africa and Nigeria in particular enjoy in bilateral relations with China. But while President Buhari is currently deliberating with the Chinese community on sustaining the mutual relations and the recent approval of additional $60 billion to enhance Africa's growth, experts consider it pertinent to critically analyze the pros and cons.
Initially driven by the philosophy of the Chinese government of non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries.
Significantly, 70% of it is toward sustainable infrastructure that have internal return capacity.
When China says this is win-win, it's not rhetorics, it's not politics.
True that the relations may be mutually beneficial for both parties, but Nigeria must adapt some strategies and lessons to actualize her quest for economic independence and development.
We have to plan, and planning with precision. We have to get experts, whether they're Nigerians or Africans, or look at the consequences, determine the trajectory of this relationship.
By extremely disciplined and sustainable long-term development planning culture.
This thing can be cultivated by a developmental, focused, credible state with integrity.
I'm sitting right in the master control room of Star TV network, otherwise known as Star Times, one of the many benefits of the Nigeria-China relations. But while I might be enjoying the luxuries, comfort and ease of doing my job as a journalist, experts are emphatic on the need to tread with caution.
China is giving Africa a huge amount of money, and which can make African countries to be sinking into another debt. The fact that they are not going to interfere in the politics of the partners is something that I find it difficult to believe, because there's no difference between economic diplomacy and political diplomacy.
There is, however, an assurance from President Muhammadu Buhari that there won't be any financial indebtedness resulting from the relations. In Abuja, Momso Damien Dati, NTA News.
With the 2018 Beijing Forum on Africa-China Cooperation over, African countries have started reflecting on how best they can maximize the gains of this engagement with China. What are the priorities for Nigeria? Makut Simon Macham reports on the takeaways from the summit.
Over the course of 30 days, Beijing, the capital city of China, played host to government delegations from 54 African countries, some represented by heads of state, ministers, and other trade delegations. For Nigeria, representation was at the highest level by President Muhammadu Buhari, who led the delegation. At a joint press briefing by Chinese President Xi Jinping and FOCAC 2018 co-chair, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, both announced the adoption of the Beijing Action Plan 2019 to 2021, which focuses on political cooperation, economic partnerships, social and cultural development, peace and security, international cooperation and development of FOCAC institutions.
China-Africa cooperation, as part of the international cooperation with Africa, follows the principle of mutual benefit, openness, and inclusiveness.
We have found that this is one of the most meaningful partnerships that there is in the world today, because it is based on a win-win approach.
Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema speaks about Nigeria's takeaways from the summit.
We in Nigeria, in the framework of ECOWAS and also in the framework of the African Union, are pushing for greater African integration. So it makes sense to have a coherent approach to that process. And we believe, as a government, will put the country on a real sustainable growth trajectory. So whatever resources we get will be, spent within the framework of the economic recovery and growth plans.
Senegal is to host the next event in 2021.
If the numbers are anything to go by, then Nigeria perhaps remains the country in Africa that will benefit more from the relationship between Africa and China. This is because Nigeria has the resources and the population to benefit maximally from this engagement. From Beijing in China, I am Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
And away from Nigeria-China relations, the federal government has opted to usher the Nigerian health sector into a new era with the approval of a sum of 6.071 trillion naira for a 5-year harmonized plan. The effective implementation of the plan is expected to reduce maternal mortality rate by about 31%, among other related problems confronting the nation. Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, made this known at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade has that report.
The harmonized health plan is a product of the federal government, states and development partners. The plan, Minister of Health Isaac Adewale explains, has 5 strategic pillars and 15 priority areas. The 5 strategic pillars, as he says, include the enabling environment for the attainment of the health sector, increased utilization of the essential package of healthcare services, and protection from emergencies, as well as health financing.
In total, this new plan has 15 thematic areas, 48 strategic objectives, and 282 interventions that will help us to really improve the healthcare delivery that we offer our people.
The minister says what is important is the stakeholders and strong health sector-wide participation.
And health is part of the corporate desire to invest in our people. And when there are strong indicators, one of which is to invest in the primary care. So we are actually re-engineering the health sector. And for the first time in the history of the country, we are implementing the Basic Care Provision Fund. In our 2018 budget, there is an appropriation of 55.1 billion naira for basic care services. And this money, we are working hard on this, will flow straight from Central Bank to the facility.
Commenting on the outbreak of cholera in some states in Nigeria, the minister says the commitment of government is to completely eradicate cholera in the country, a commitment which he says has been made by other African countries. Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Sauri, briefed the press on approvals by the council for the ministry.
Almost today to council, and council graciously approved all 4 memos. 3 of the memos is for road construction, augmentation, and bridge. Then 1 is for installation of a solar facility in the power ministry. 1 of the road is Abuja Abaji Lokoja Road, Section 1.
The Federal Executive Council meeting was chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
The presidency says former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is right to say that President Muhammadu Buhari is uncompromising against corruption, but would not agree that he is power drunk. Responding to a comment made by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in a foreign news medium, the presidency noted that President Buhari is uncompromising in the quest to restore probity and accountability to public office and resolute in his determination to ensure that Nigeria is no longer a mono economy depending only on oil. A statement by the special advisor to the President on Media Publicity, Femi Adesina, noted that the former vice president is wrong to say that President Buhari is power drunk and being a man who will not be ready to leave power without a fight. Adesina says President Buhari has demonstrated in many ways that he is a committed Democrat and has wielded power with decency as a means of serving the people rather than for personal ends. The presidency also assured the former vice president that there will be no fight over power in Nigeria. Coming up, politics and political maneuvers as politicians begin to show where they want to be in 2019. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. We're glad to have you back with us on News Extra tonight. And now we talk politics. The All Progressives Congress, APC, has hit the ground running with the commencement of sale of expression of interest and nomination forms for aspirants ahead of the 2019 general elections. Top on the list of aspirants collecting the expression of interest and nomination is the Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network. Certainly, not for the association itself to vie for any political office, but it is doing that through its members in their resolve to see to the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari for his second term in office. The form, therefore, is collected by the Network Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network for the office of the #1 citizen of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, to support gesture and practical demonstration and support for the president to recontest for re-election come 2019. Political correspondent Saliu Abdullahi completes the report.
These are members of Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network at APC National Secretariat in high spirit, obtaining the expression of interest and nomination forms for President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you, sir. Show of support like these for President Muhammadu Buhari and the quest for the president to come back to office has ever before been echoing across the country. But to Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network, it is its practical demonstration of not only supporting Mr. President and the quest for him to come and consolidate on his veritable scorecard so far. The group has gathered funds and purchased the form for Mr. President, seeing that, according to its members, as not only their appreciation for the unprecedented development strides by Mr. President, but also they see the gesture as a duty to the nation.
We have decided silently for almost a year now to pull our resources together for us to be able to purchase the nomination form.
This is the very first. Party Chairman Comrade Adams Oshomole, while appreciating their gesture, which he said is born out of the unflinching service to Nigeria and Nigerians by the President, with tremendous success within a such time in office.
Because it's the very first form we are giving out, I retaliated by assuring that most members, National Working Committee, are present to witness the collection upon receipt of the nomination fee.
The party says aspirants are entitled to single interest of nomination and expression of interest form, and therefore those who want to volunteer in buying form for Mr. President can look inward and assist him in other ways to ensure his victory in 2019. Meanwhile, the party has released schedule of activities ahead of its congresses and convention. National Organizing Secretary Emma Ebidiro assured parties resolve to create a level playing ground throughout the exercise.
To make sure that we have a peaceful conduct of these activities, peaceful primary, everybody must be given a level playing ground.
National convention to elect the party's presidential candidate will hold on Saturday, 6th October 2018. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And ahead of the 2019 general elections, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has continued to receive more expression of interest forms from some of its members aspiring for the position of the president. Omenka Amarachukwu has this Wednesday witnessed the 8th aspirant who submitted his expression form.
The party secretariat has become a beehive with the coming to the submitting of forms to various offices. Among those that visited the party secretariat is Senator Dati Baba Ahmed, who is vying for the office of the president. Pro-Chancellor of Bayes University, Abuja, was a former member of the House of Representatives and member senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I am duly submitting my presidential expression of interest and nomination forms to my party leadership.
We, like you know, intend to do very, very transparent convention. It is only in doing so that we can gain the confidence of not only our party men and women, but the confidence of you aspirants.
Meanwhile, PDP Secretariat is still besieged with party members still working towards 2019 general elections. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachukwu, NTA News.
The strategic and geographical location of Ibadan no doubt contributes to why there is an impressive federal presence, especially in the area of agricultural research and food sufficiency. In this special report, Goke Alomoge takes a look at some of these establishments and how the present administration is using them for national development.
Ibadan, the Oyo State capital and headquarters of the Southwest Geopolitical Zone, has been host to several federal government socio-economic infrastructures and establishments. With the liberalization drive of the present administration towards promoting sustainable agriculture in the country, the various infrastructure on ground is capable of ensuring the country enjoys robust crop and animal production.
Nigerian government felt that there should be an outfit like this to conserve all these genetic resources. And we are collaborating with different universities who are sending research students to NAGRAB so that they can carry out research on feeding and then improvement of some of these animals.
We have been extending information from farmer to the government.
Another federal infrastructure receiving attention, which when completed will also improve economic viability, is the ever-busy Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which serves as a major route to Lagos, the commercial nerve center of the country. Maintenance work on the road seems to be steady and progressive under the current administration, as commuters look forward to plying a hitch-free road while traveling.
It's about 80% done. I applied this road almost every day from Oyo to Lagos for business stuff. So the road has been improving. It's just that they need to speed up.
For the meantime that just start to do the road, at least the road is okay for us now. So it's better than before.
With the huge amounts of money earmarked for road construction, expansion and maintenance across the country, it will come as a relief to motorists to see that roads such as the Ibadan Expressway is being prioritized by government to make life easier for people in Ibadan. Goke Alamogi, NTA News.
Still on infrastructural development, the federal government is undertaking 18 road projects in Kano State as part of the Buhari administration's commitment in fixing critical infrastructure in the country. Among them are multi-billion naira reconstruction of Kano-Abuja Highway, Kano-Katsina dual carriageway, and the ongoing construction of Kano-Maiduguri Expressway. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports that road users are applauding President Buhari's desire to fix critical infrastructure in their need of attention.
The 375.4-kilometer Kano-Kaduna-Abuja highway, which was flagged off in June this year, has taken shape with contractor on site. The reconstruction is ongoing simultaneously in 3 sections. The reconstruction of Kano-Kaduna-Abuja Expressway is progressing simultaneously. One lane is under milling process and the other lane is left for motorists to have access road. Motorists plying the road say the present administration has fulfilled its promise pledged to vote for President Muhammadu Buhari come 2019.
This Abuja Kaduna Kano Express is coming up to life. It's coming back to life.
We thank for federal government for this thing we do.
Federal Controller Works Kano, who was on site, appreciated the level of work being done.
So far, we have covered about 12 to 13 kilometers of the milling.
Are you satisfied with the level of work?
Yes, we are satisfied. The mill is going progressively very well, despite the fact that we are in rainy season and it rains these days heavily. But still, the contractor was able to achieve substantially on the work.
Another ongoing project is Kano-Katsina dual carriageway, which had reached 36% completion. In a related development, the Section 1 of Kano-Maiduguri dualization project, which is ongoing, has also reached 57% completion. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Now, owing to the sustained infrastructural development in Nigeria's power, electricity consumers generation, Kaduna says power supply has improved with positive impact on socio-economic lives. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that power distribution pattern is, however, becoming a source of concern to many, especially small-scale entrepreneurs whose production cost keeps rising.
There is no doubt that Nigeria has in the last 3 years sped up investment towards the development of infrastructures across its power supply mix. This has kept the country on track with respect to realizing an installed capacity of 12,522 megawatt. In the past couple of months, electricity consumers across Nigeria have been enjoying improved power supply. Artisans like Ahmad and Usman, who before now rely solely on power generating sets to run their welding machines, say they are smiling to the bank as their cost of production reduces.
If I come and see the light, if I close, I will see the light. That is, if I tell you 24 hours, not true they tell you now.
Ahmad and Usman are lucky to be among millions of other customers who are in the good books of the power distribution company in Kaduna. The company has categorized its customers into 3 groups, supplying them based on their capacity to pay.
This is a commodity that we buy. We don't get it for free. Every day we get a bill of up to 3.5 billion naira worth of energy that we receive, which we have to sell and collect money.
This approach has left many customers in darkness, even when they never fail in their commitment to offset their bills. A garment factory, which employs more than 200 Nigerians, is among millions of other households and businesses that are caught in the middle.
To operate generally on generator, and that brings the high cost of production.
Just because this factory falls in the category of neighborhood where low collection is recorded, it is denied constant supply of power, which could have made a difference in its earnings.
It's a very sad thing for people who are willing to pay, but unfortunately they find themselves in areas or locations where majority of the people are not paying.
But for Ahmed and Usman, luck has given them a special place in the heart of the power distribution company.
Another man's food, they say, is another man's poison. As it is boom time for those artisans, it is an ugly trend for this man here who sells generator. He says sales these days are very low as a result of the improved supply of electricity all over the country. In Kaduna, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
The interest of the Buhari government in youth empowerment is not in doubt. So, it should not be surprising to you when I tell you that the government is partnering Google to train 500,000 Nigerians on digital skills. Now, that's huge. Now, this training has kicked off in Sokoto, and I tell you that it is to empower youths and provide a favorable environment for enterprises to thrive. Usman Mohammed Binji tells us that the Minister of State Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, who was at the flag off, was visibly impressed.
Digital Skills for Africa program is aimed at helping individuals and communities to develop and grow digital skills, find jobs, and advance in their careers. Google's Program Manager Developer Ecosystem Sub-Saharan Africa, Anidi Udo Obon, says that Google's investment in digital skills will support government efforts to enable Nigerians to gain employment. He said in Nigeria alone, there are over 45 million users of internet. Hence, technology has become critical to youth development.
Individuals, we empower businesses, they grow, and in turn, it is also good for Google. So it's good for Nigeria, it's good for businesses, it's good for Google.
Flagging up the training, Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, said federal government has partnered Google to train Nigerian youths on digital skills with a view to improving employability of job seekers and the growth of small enterprises. She said 1,000 youth from Sokoto State will be trained on digital skills, saying 500 Nigerians are expected to benefit in the training as a whole. The minister said out of the 6 special economic zones to be established in 6 geopolitical zones across Nigeria, 1 will be established in Sokoto, adding that the initiative is aimed at boosting entrepreneurship and providing job opportunities.
This administration is very keen on developing initiatives that will support the development of our small businesses. In this perspective, the ministry is developing the virtual micro, small and medium enterprises one-stop shop that will connect all MDAs involved in business registration.
Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar, represented by the Obando Masaban Birni in Sokoto, Malami Sheikh Machido, implore the Nigerian youths to use internet responsibly. He commended federal government and Google for the partnership aimed at empowering youths and enhancing businesses. And Sokoto, Osman Mohamed Binji, NTA News.
Now, tomorrow morning, as you get out of your residence, take a good look at the vegetation around you. It may just be that some of the trees around you are sources of remedy for some of your health challenges. Apart from that, there are also sources of earning cool cash by processing some of the fruits from these trees. Now, there is a tree in Jigawa State that has caught the attention of the federal government in the quest to grow small enterprises and empower entrepreneurs. Hawa Haliru tells us about it.
This is Rajindinya traditional cottage industry, where black plum is being processed and produced into health line products. The village has been blessed by one type of tree, black plum, known as dinya in Hausa. Scientifically, it has been proven this fruit has nutritious values and is a source of many products.
We have a bread spread made from dinya, or the African black plum. We also have sweet and salty peanuts.
The people in this village, which derives its names from the fruits, are industrious with the support of Federal University Dusi under its Community Development Initiative. A cottage industry has been put in place to further support the initiative and carry it higher. The university invited special advisor to the president on social investment programs, Hajia Mariam Uwais, to explore areas of support and partnership for its impact to be felt nationally.
I'm going to take some of the tea, the products, and I'm going to see how we can engage with Ministry of Trade and Investment, Ministry of Agri, SMEDAN, to see how it can be coordinated.
Indeed, it is a worthy project under the present administration's economic diversification, as speakers call for support to the owners of this cottage industry to tap more from the bountiful blessings in the plum tree.
As part of the state government, we are immediately engaging them from an empowerment perspective to see how we can come in and provide either working materials, working capital, and also to try to get the Ministry of Environment involved in propagating the planting of dinya.
We have benefited immensely from the university, not only in job creation, but in actually social services.
From Rajindinya village in Dusa local government, Hawa Halar Haruna, NTA News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says there is no iota of truth in news in some quarters that there is a resurgence of Boko Haram in the northeast. The Army Chief debunked the claim while at the graduation of troops at the Advanced Watermanship course in School of Infantry, Jaji, Kaduna State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the South African Chief of Army Staff on official visit to Nigeria is the special guest at the event.
Let's go. Can we please put our hands together for them?
These are members of the Special Forces on a special simulation exercise with element of the amphibious arm of the Nigerian Army. Their mission is to attack with precision and destroy the enemy camp position situated at the bank of Cargo Dam in Jaji. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who introduced the watermanship course in the School of Infantry, Jaji, in 2003, stressed that training across all spectrum is crucial to addressing the dynamism in a rising internal security challenge.
Adopting correct strategies, the employment and disposition
of the right force, with the tremendous backing of the Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the goodwill of the citizens, contributed immensely to the successes achieved so far.
While inspecting an infantry fighting vehicle, the visiting South African Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lindil Yam, commended Nigerian Army for being proactive and ingenuity.
These damn Nigerians, wherever they are, they swim. Wherever they are, they get their way. Wherever they are, they adapt. How they do it, I don't know.
Impressed with the simulation exercise by the graduating troops in the watermanship course, Lieutenant General Buratai announced a special promotion for all the participants. From Jaji in Kaduna State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
As the countdown to the 2019 presidential election begins, Nigerians are witnessing a barrage of declaration for the coveted office of the President of Nigeria. Now, the question is, what are the aspirants bringing to the socio-political table? How do they intend to proffer solutions to the myriad of problems facing the country? While these questions appear mere rhetoric, an Abuja-based journalist and politician, Chukwudi Enekwechi, says they are the determining factors for the choice Nigerians will make in 2019. President Muhammadu Buhari has, within a period of 3 years, found a way towards addressing the many national challenges. These achievements in security, economy, infrastructural rehabilitation, tackling corruption, amongst many others, has made the world focus attention on Nigeria. Up ahead, business and some agri news. I know you don't want to miss that. Join us again. This is NTA News Extra, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Nigeria-China volume of trade to receive further boost from the current 7.6 billion naira as the all-share index of the capital market plummeted by 1.49%. Let's join Emeka Owo for details of these and more in our business news segment.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. The visit of President Muhammadu Buhari to China witnessed the signing of no fewer than 25 MOUs, including the $328 million agreement on telecoms infrastructure. Analysts encourage the government to build capacity for export and focus on training indigenous personnel for the implementation of these projects.
Quite a lot of potentials for us to develop in our oil and gas sector, for instance, in our manufacturing sector, in our mining sector. We have quite huge potentials in all those areas, and you need investment to make that happen. So these are some of the other areas that I think the relationship can be used to also drive the progress and development in those sectors.
Meanwhile, Nigeria-China trade relations is on the trajectory of growth. Stakeholders say volume of trade can rise from the current 7.6 billion naira year on year.
The strength of economy is the market base of any nation. Nigeria provides that. The Nigerian Free Zone, if you don't know, is an enclave created by Nigeria to actually create an enabling environment for foreign direct investment and Nigerian investments through incentivization of operations so that the cost of production will be reduced to the barest minimum, and we ginger up the economy towards economic development on export and import substitution drive.
When you talk about the 60 billion fund, we are talking about project export. It's a trend in China. China in some cases has overcapacity, so there are companies interested in moving their factories to produce locally for the local production. And also there could be some joint venture projects, in multiple fields. It could be in oil and gas, it could be in some of the other commodities.
We now leave you with graphic details of movement of stocks on the floor of the Nigeria stock markets, which ended in the red midweek. That's it on Business News. News Extra continues shortly.
The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, is to support the Student Innovation Challenge holding in tertiary institutions across the country with a sum of 10 million naira as part of its corporate responsibility towards the success of the project. Announcing the donation at the Northwest Regional Finals of the program held at the Abuja University, Kano, the managing director, Umaru Ibrahim, urged corporate organizations to rise in support of the federal government's effort at raising young Nigeria's innovations. Jide Onifade has that report.
You for your very untiring.
Impressed by the number of participants in the Student Innovation Challenge and the talents displayed, Umaru Ibrahim, Managing Director of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, commends the federal government on the initiative aimed at developing talents and entrepreneurship among Nigerian youths.
In the last 15 years, we have been supporting our various tertiary institutions with intervention projects, building classrooms, laboratories, ICT centers, and we have disbursed about 3 billion so far.
Someone said that Nigeria in the innovation world is ranked to be producing 0.2%. I'm telling you that with my generation today, Nigeria is going to reach among the 50% top.
Joshua is from the University of Jos, who says he has the solution to the deficiency in electricity supply. The project, which won him the 4th spot, is a solar energy lantern and also a noiseless generating set. The managing director commends the winners of the Innovation Challenge and uses the occasion to assure Nigerians of the credibility of financial institutions in Nigeria. From the Abuja University in Kano, Jide Onifade, NT News.
And a report just reaching us says the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State has agreed to adopt consensus primaries in all the elected positions in the 2019 general elections. The decision was made during a stakeholders meeting of the party in Abeokuta. Lekon Agbonde reports that the incumbent governor, Ibukule Amosu, announced this at the meeting and his intention to run for the Senate in 2019.
Stakeholders of the party converged on the Metro's Hall, Abeokuta, to take critical decisions on which method of primaries to adopt following the directive of the national leadership of the party, mandating party at the state levels to adopt the method that suit their peculiarities, consensus, direct or indirect method. Ogun State Governor Ibukule Amosun urged party faithful to adopt consensus method and, if it fails, resort to direct primaries to show good example that the party in the state is exceptional when it comes to politics. This, the members unanimously agreed to.
Despite the fact that everybody, because I've been interfacing with every one of you, everybody saying direct. Please, I'm appealing to you. Let us opt for direct primaries. That is in areas where consensus fails. So for us in Ogun State, let it be known and said that for us in Ogun State, we are adopting consensus.
The chairman of the party, Denia Debi, and the National Financial Secretary of the party, Tajuddin Bello, commended members for their commitment and loyalty to the party. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NT News.
Now, if at the end of this next story you say it is a reflection of the Agricultural Revival Initiative by the government on food security, or that it is the law of Mother Nature which says there is a season to sow and another to harvest, you will not be wrong. Because in Nasarawa State, the two scenarios have taken center stage, with a feeling of satisfaction permeating the air at the start of a bumper harvest of granules following months of persistent hard work by the farming community. Hamza Musa Makarfi, who went round, reports that farmers are optimistic about the return of the days when the commodity earned the reputation as key revenue earner for the nation.
In front of his house is evidence of harvest getting the better part of a slightly sunny day. John Abims, in his late 60s, exemplifies the people's commitment following the clarion call by the government, encouraging citizens to grow and feed the nation. With more than 50 people on a typical day like this to assist him, again confirms what communal approach is to agricultural development in Nigeria. He and many others who expect between 10 and 100 bags are confident Nasarawa State will have an edge in production output above its peers in north-central Nigeria.
Now with the present government, that of our president, encouraging people to go back to farm, I am for sure those pyramids will soon surface.
They supply us fertilizer. It is only that the fertilizer is not enough for us this year, but we appreciate the government.
That will also mean a significant contribution to more than 3 million tons expected by the nation this year, according to findings. To ensure there is more value in the production, the farmers want government to give priority to the commodity as an item under the Anchor Borrower scheme. This initiative, they say, will bring on board off-takers that can offer a good price to the farmers. More than any other economic sector in Nigeria, agriculture remains the highest in terms of employment of the people. And in fact, there is the younger generation that is waiting to take over this great opportunity. From Lafia, Hamza Musamad MP, NTA News.
Now, remember late Fela's relics of water no get enemy? If you manage it well, it will be your friend. If you don't manage it well, it will be your enemy. For farmers in Sokoto and Kebbi states, water is needed to ensure their crops are adequately watered to maturity. And that is what the Sokoto River Basin Development Authority is promising them. That is, even if the rains cease early. It is good to know that this is not a case of flood washing away farmlands. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrilla will tell us how the Sokoto River Basin will assist the farmers.
The Goranyo Dam experienced a shortage of water for supply last year, which affected farming activities, especially rice farmers that lost their investment in Silame local government area and other neighboring farmers in Kebbi State. In view of the challenges faced last year, the Sokoto River Basin Development Authority says it has developed an integrated reservoir action plan for all its dams in the preceding season and has been consistent in monitoring the releasing of water from the dams to ensure that no destruction is caused to the downstream. Last year, the rice farmers in Silame local government area complained of losing rice worth 200 million naira due to inadequate supply of water from Goranyo Dam. To tackle this problem, the Sokoto River Basin Development Authority assured the farmers of normal release of water for agricultural and other basic daily activities. Some of the farmers interviewed had earlier expressed fear over the reoccurrence of the loss encountered last year, but with this development, they express hope of having a bumper harvest. In Sokoto, Abrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Well, remember the saying that one man's meat is another man's poison? Well, that's what is on my mind right now, because as farmers in Sokoto are looking for water to water their fields, residents of Kotonkarfe in Kogi State are running away from waters that have flooded their farms and homes. Austin Enyebe says hundreds of the residents are now counting their losses at various IDP camps.
About 200 households in 13 communities in the local government area have been displaced. While the lucky ones move out on time to the IDP camps, others in the hinterland along the river banks are still finding their way out to the upland, where camps have been prepared to accommodate them.
Now, what our Pacos want to go to Jegu to hire room there.
The Kogi State Governor, in response to the emergency, sent a team led by the Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Sanusi Yahya Usman, to assess the impact of the flood with a view to responding to their needs. The team met with the displaced persons at Jegu camp, where they were assured of relief materials soon.
And now that it has happened, we are working. The local government, the states and the federal government are working together to make sure that everybody play his or her role. And very soon you are going to see the relief and the succor that you will get.
Displaced persons who spoke to NTA News expressed worry over the loss of their crops to the disaster, as that was their only means of livelihood.
We lost our food items, such as rice, maize, cassava, and some other things.
The team was also at Adankolo New GRA, where many houses have already been flooded. The commissioner called on residents to move out from their houses immediately before they are caught up, as the water level keeps rising.
Everyone, your life first, because you never can tell what will happen, especially at night when you are sleeping.
The traditional ruler of Kutunkarufi, Ohimege of Igu, Abrazak Sani Isa Kutugambo, speaking on the disaster, called on the federal government to look into the problem of blocked water channels around the Murtala Mohammed Bridge, attributing it to the flooding in the area every year. He also solicited material support to the victims of the disaster. In Lokoja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Well, still on water, but from the bad to the good. We hear the tourism potentials of Nigeria are begging to be tapped. And if properly harnessed, oil will no longer be the goose laying the golden eggs. Watching NTA's Rogo at Large program alone has exposed enough of Nigeria's diverse tourism endowments. Now, talking about tourism, there is this warm spring in Ikogisi, Ekiti State. That is one of Nigeria's international tourism attractions with potentials for foreign and local patronage. Let's tell you about this natural endowment and its economic values. Ayodeji Ogunshaki, where are you with that report? Well, that report will be coming to us later in the bulletin. It has been observed that social media accounts are being run in the name of the son of the president, Yusuf Buhari. A statement by Femi Adesina, special advisor to the president, media and publicity, says Yusuf Muhammadu Buhari is not on any social media platform and therefore advised the public to disregard such. It advised those perpetrating the illegality to stop forthwith, as it amounts to impersonation. It's time for another breather. When we come back, we will tell you what articulated vehicles are doing to Lagos traffic. Wait for that. It's good to know that you're out there watching News Extra tonight. We'll now take you back to an earlier story on the Ikogosi Warm Spring, which is one of Nigeria's international tourism attraction with potentials for foreign and local patronage. Our correspondent, Ayodeji Ogunshaki, is standing by with the details.
The uniqueness of Ekiti State is its tourism potentials spread across the state. Among those God-endowed tourism is the Ikogosi Warm Spring, which findings confirmed as one of the few discovered in the world. Located in a serene area of Ikogosi Ekiti, the spring is noted for its warm and cold nature that meet at a confluence, a development that usually attracts tourists across the state, the country, and even beyond in the past.
scientific side believe that the main body of this warm water is occurred as a result of mountain magma and the volcanic eruption activities. So they believe that the temperature there under the rock is about 200 degrees Celsius there. So the more the water is coming out of the surface, the cooler it's become. As the water is traveling downward there, the temperature is reducing. That is why it remains 37 degrees Celsius from the meeting point here.
However, in recent years, situations have changed as people hardly visit the place for tourism, a situation that many said such has turned the spring site to a shadow of itself and consequently telling on the revenue generation of the community and the state in particular.
Today now, Ikogosi has become moribund. Gosi water is no longer there, and some of the things that were going on is no longer there again.
One of the major problems is that governments, they don't, recognize all these, they don't take proper care of these centers, which can easily attract people.
Ikogosi One Spring, aside the tourism section, it also provides chalets for accommodation, among other facilities that attract tourists, create employment, generate revenue for the community and the state. A situation respondents emphasized the need for governments to prioritize. The state government said it could not put the tourism center into use due to paucity of funds.
It's been facelifted through the bonds that the last administration took, but the power situation there is horrible. That makes it very, very expensive. The roads too, the federal roads to the place is very bad.
Ikogosi One Springs is said to be as old as the Ikogosi community itself. From Adekiti, Ayodiji Ogunshaki, NTA News.
Thank you, Ayodiji. Now, commuters plying the ever-busy Ikorodu Road in Lagos had a Herculean task getting to their various places of work due to an early morning accident involving a tanker and a commercial bus that created a gridlock. Correspondent Tola Adebule reports that although no life was lost, some passengers of the commercial bus sustained injuries.
Which occurred early in the morning caused serious gridlock from Abati Barracks down to Funshaw Williams Avenue. The accident involved a fully loaded commercial bus with passengers and a truck filled with wheat. Eyewitnesses present at the scene said the bus tried to overtake the truck impatiently and got hit from behind in the process. However, there was zero casualties as passengers on the bus only sustained minor injuries.
The main cause of the accident was a downfall driver that was over there picking passenger.
That yellow one, the day for the bike, but you want to overthrow that trailer. That trailer is just the wrong corner. I see the wrong corner. That trailer just carry on near that trailer. Carry that small vehicle, go to other side there. Can't enter this place again, but that one can't go.
This trailer, that you have 12 gears. Before you are remove it to and change to another side, to take the other side, the thing should go cook, you support you and check back motor that is coming or no, before you take the car to move the other side.
The bus driver also gave his account of the incident.
I was going with full load. I was going to Pangrove. So all of a sudden, I heard the noise. The thing just pushed me out of the lane. I thank God nobody died. So, but some people sustained little injuries. Even my very self, I'm having serious pains here now.
All efforts to speak with the truck driver proved abortive as he was in pain and not coordinated enough to talk. Men of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, and Lagos State Fire Service were all on ground to manage the situation. In Lagos, Tola Adebule, NTA News.
Well, it's 2 months after the tanker inferno that claimed several lives on Otedola Bridge. And it will appear that no lessons have been learned from that tragedy. The measures announced to avert a recurrence have largely been ignored, as we will hear from Dotun Ogunyemi, who visited the scene of the accident along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
On Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, for goodness sake. Oh my God.
The tanker fire tragedy on Otedola Bridge on the 28th of June sparked public outcry for the movement of trucks and articulated vehicles to be regulated. The Lagos State government responded with directives restricting such vehicles to designated routes.
All tankers and containers coming into Lagos State from henceforth are directed to obtain the Ministry of Transportation certificate of roadworthiness at any of our centers within the next 30 days.
This deadline expired in July, so we visited one of the testing centers in Bagada to ascertain the level of compliance. There was not much going on from our observation, so we took up one of the officials at the center.
They are in compliance with the states to ensure proper
20 Section 2 of the Lagos.
We sincerely apologize for the loss of audio towards the end of that report. Well, so far so good, but we're not done. Let's find out the weather prospect for tomorrow so you will know if you need an umbrella or a canoe to leave your house. That will be after these messages. You're welcome back. In this segment, we begin with foreign news. Let's join Austin Bem Onyi with happenings on the global scene. The Onyechi family of Ogbendida village of Onitsha, Anambra State, announces the passing away of Dominic Oseloka Onyechi. He was aged 62. Until his demise, Dominic Onyechi was a retired Director of Information in charge of Publication and Production Department, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. On retirement in 2016, he ventured into legal practice and became the managing partner of Unity Chambers in Abuja. A statement by Fred Onyechi on funeral arrangements on behalf of the family states that his body will lie in state at his residence, plot 38, phase 1, Trans Nkisi layout, Onitsha, on Friday, September the 7th, 2018. While funeral mass is billed for 11 a.m. same day at Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Onitsha. Interment would follow immediately after the mass. And just before we go, a quick look at the weather picture across the country.
A warm welcome. One of the effects of flooding is the prevalence of waterborne diseases and displacement of soil, which leads to weakening of structures like houses and bridges. On this note, weather conditions for the next 48 hours appears favorable for heavy rains that could cause flooding, particularly around the Mambilla axis down to the coast of the southeastern part of the country. For Thursday morning, we anticipate moderate to heavy rains around the Mambilla Plateau down to the southern sector, places like Lagos, Ogun, Port Harcourt, Enugu, amongst others. Then Makurdi, Abuja, Bauchi in the central states and Kaduna up to the northern region have indications for morning thunderstorms, while increased cloudiness is expected in the western half of the central states. By afternoon, most parts of the country should still experience moderate rains and thunderstorms because there are indications for it. I leave you with the temperature forecast. I am Imara Joyce Nchom. Thanks for watching and see you again.
Well, it looks like we'll surely be needing our umbrellas tomorrow when we go out. And it's on that note we wrap it up on News Extra tonight. It has been a great pleasure bringing the program to you. Do join us again, same time, same station, when we hope to bring you another interesting package. Until then, on behalf of all of us out here, I thank you for joining us and I wish you a pleasant night rest.